So I wanted to go through some comments that I was getting on my YouTube channel recently, because I do get these comments here and there, and I don't often respond to them, but I'm starting to get some more comments, so I want to make sure that I address people's questions. Here, let me see here. I just want to go through some of these. Let's see, maybe this. Okay, I think this probably covers all the videos where I have comments. We've heard a lot from here. Let me see. Do I have comments on this one? Oh yeah, okay. So we've got this one. These are comments on my video called "Why I Think This Man Is the Left's Only Chance to Have Their Own Joe Rogan," and I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith here in this video, and why I think that he's going to be the next Joe Rogan. So I got some comments down here. One says, this is by Alyssa Spanish Fork. It says, as a lifelong Democrat, Stephen A. Smith will never be the voice that represents me, Stephen A. Smith, a man who has had a 20-year relationship with Sean Hannity. Now, I will say this. The political opinions of someone like this are, I don't want to be mean, but the opinions of someone like this they're politically irrelevant, because someone like this, they're going to just consistently vote blue no matter who, right? They're just gonna keep on checking that box until they die, right? So someone like that, who's like so far gone to the point right here where he's saying that she is not going to trust someone who is friends with Sean Hannity, just friends with Sean Hannity, someone who's that far gone, I don't think it matters pushing that person's needle. And it's the needle push, the people whose needles can, the people who push the needles, people whose needles can be pushed. Either way, those types of folks are the ones who are sort of malleable by folks like Joe Rogan. And this is why folks like Joe Rogan matter and are important. And also Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen A. Smith is going to move the needle on some people, but not Alyssa Spanish Fork, which is completely fine. The fact that she isn't represented by Stephen A. Smith does not matter at all. Now, here's something it says here. This is by Mia Juventino 88. Says the only issue is that Joe Rogan doesn't aim to shape his viewers' mind. He lets his guests speak free, and we, the listener, get to make our mind up. That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. We can look this up. Actually, if we look up Joe Rogan, Sanjay Gupta, we look this up right here, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, but like very clearly, this is not what happens when Joe Rogan did this.
So for you, Joe Rogan,
yes,
I would say you've had it.
Yes.
So now get one shot of the vaccine.
No.
Why not?
Because I have better immunity than I would if I was vaccinated. Right?
Yes.
Don't I?
I think your immunity is really good.
So why, if I've already gotten through COVID and I was really only sick for a day, and then 5 days later I was negative, and I do have the natural antibodies now, why would I take a chance in getting vaccinated on top of that?
By the way, I'm glad you're better. I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication.
Oh yeah.
We should talk about
Right
that.
here. It bothered you.
It should bother you too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not.
Now, if we're going to be honest here, Joe Rogan's being truthful. He's right. But at the same time, if we're going to be honest, we're going to be fair, he is aiming to shape his viewers' minds, right? His one of his messaging is that with COVID-19, you don't necessarily need to take a vaccine. If you can get natural antibodies, just do that, and then you're good. And some of the aggressive pro-vaccination rhetoric was harmful and not helpful. That's pushing a message on his viewers. So not entirely accurate to say that he doesn't aim to shape his viewers' minds there. MJ says, I think the big issue with Rogan is the absurd bias some of his guests have in not challenging the same positions people have. I think when you have a biased selection leads to people having biased results. I will say that's not entirely his fault, because he invites left-wingers onto a show. Bernie Sanders goes on the Joe Rogan Experience all the time. It's just that left-wingers are, because left-wing political culture is extremely more cultish than right-wing political culture. So and because of that cultish nature, they're like, well, I don't want to be friends with someone who's on the right. This person here is actually saying it here. The man has a 20-year friendship with Sean Hannity. But a lot of people who are on the left won't even go on the Joe Rogan Experience, right? Because of that sort of like cult-like culture. So there's that to factor in. But also, I mean, one thing is Joe Rogan's on, I don't know if Joe Rogan's on the right entirely, necessarily. He leans right. But if you lean right or on the right, you're going to be more forgiving of the extremist positions on the right than you would be on the left, and vice versa, right? So I think that is somewhat natural. But I'm not arguing that Joe Rogan is neutral. That's not my whole point in this video at all. Ramen3 at ADS says, case in point, you think he doesn't when he absolutely does. LOL. I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of fair. I kind of made that same point a few minutes ago. Okay, so now we've got some comments here on the Dr. Disrespect video. This one got me a bunch of hate. I don't know, I guess we had some toddlers in the chat on this one. But it says here, eating on mic is the last thing people want to listen to. Can't watch a video because of that. Please don't eat on mic. I was like, okay, honestly, respect, that's fair. I was even listening to it back on the audio, and yeah, I'm not going to do that again. That was not smart. That was not wise. Yes sir daddy says, what's your stance, big fella? I'm personally confused by Doc's reaction. It's still unclear to me. He acts as if it's not what it seems, but he never clears it up. And also, based on what I've read and seen several places, Twitch is rampant with this stuff, but Twitch had bad actors, and the person texting was planted. Interesting. If you won the case against them, legally it's unclear. I think the blowback on this has so much to do with the fact that he's not a beta. Okay, dude. And his persona is so loud, so every beta white knight latches onto it. I still watch Doc. I'm still surprised he's married, so that's also an interesting fact. First of all, I do want to say some people stay married for the kids, so there's that as well. Also, like, if you're in love with someone, right, which I would presume that Dr. Disrespect's wife is in love with him, I would hope so, that you're more forgiving of someone that you love. So there's probably a bit of that as well. Also, you've got to factor into the fact that Dr. Disrespect actually never met up with anybody, right? He was just talking with a minor, and the messages were inappropriate. That's pretty much all that we know, for sure, because it's the only thing that's been corroborated by both sides, right? The anti-Doc people, or the allegations against them, have been that it was somewhat serious, the nature of the conversations, and Dr. Disrespect was that it was all jokes. So there's no proof, right? So it's sort of like, because they're not sending or publishing the whisper chat, so it's sort of he said, she said there. My stance is basically that Dr. Disrespect is bad news. The way that he responded to the whole situation, maybe it's because he's trying to uphold his persona, but at the end of the day, first of all, you shouldn't be inappropriately messaging people, especially people that you don't know, you haven't met in real life. I think, what's his name? Ruslan, or Zach Spraza, one of the two, on the Bless God channel, he was literally like, I don't want to be like talking about dating and being like, I don't want to be texting someone and find out that they're 15. Like, you know, right? If you know someone in person, it's a lot easier to verify their age and all that stuff. But also, just inappropriate messaging is unwise, because stuff like this could happen. Even if someone ends up being of age, you know, people can still lie about you and it still hurts your brand and stuff. So messaging people underage, not wise, not smart. Messaging people inappropriately underage, not wise, not smart. It's hard to say whether or not, right, he's like a he's not like us, shall we say, based on what we know so far. But it doesn't make him look good, right? I mean, what types of people are going to have inappropriate conversations with minors, right? Probably someone who's kind of sus. So not looking good for Doc, but I'm not gonna lie and act like we for sure know concretely that Dr. Disrespect is in fact a Discord moderator. So that's my stance on it. You know, sorry if it's not black and white enough for you, right? Sorry if it's not team red or team blue enough for you, but I can only go with the information that we have so far. What else do we have? So there was this. Oh, all these comments. I forgot I had so many comments on this. How come only 3 are showing up when I have 4? The eggs at my stores are all the same prices. Okay, I was talking about nationwide. That's not particular places in that video. I actually do remember in somewhere in that article actually saying a spot saying, oh, there's some places where the cost of eggs is double the average, right? But that's not national. Sorry. Mr. Pizza in the chat says, oh yeah, that's right, Dr. Disrespect is a pred. I forgot about that. I don't know that for sure. All we know is that he had an inappropriate conversation with the minor. I don't know what the nature of that is, because you can have an inappropriate conversation with a minor where it's like inappropriate jokes, right? I would say, like, if you're sending someone like a minor, like, I don't know, edgy Adult Swim clips in their DMs, that would be inappropriate, but that wouldn't necessarily make you a predator, right? So, I don't like to throw around accusations like that unless we know that for sure. So that's kind of why I'm hedging my wording there. Micker, they got me. I try not to curse on here. 9830 said, so I don't eat eggs. Oh, no one needs to eat eggs. I mean, a large bag of chips is $7 now. I'm hoping that what you're not saying here is that you're going to replace eggs with chips. I hope that's not what you're saying here. I would say that eggs is a far richer source of protein than chips. I think would be the best way to put that. But yes, and actually, this is actually something that was mentioned in the article, right? I think in another article I read in a more recent video as well, was people are saying I'm not going to buy eggs because people can afford to hold the line and be like, I'm just going to buy eggs. I'm not going to eat the bugs. So yeah, people going to go buy other stuff. They're going to eat Soylent, whatever. Chickpeas. If you see this video, please let me know how to pronounce your name. It says, I can't wait for Trump to claim ownership of this natural market correction as he always does. I actually did a video about him doing that. Big Daddy 4691 says, the egg shortage was 100% manufactured by the media. By the media? I'm sorry, but did Jake Tapper go and give a bunch of chickens the bird flu? What? Did MSNBC will the bird flu epidemic into existence? I don't even know how you get to this conclusion that the media manufactured the egg shortage, because the egg shortage was literally real. Like, if you look into the statistics, I think the article I went through in this video sort of dived into the numbers and how eggs are being killed. Like, Joe Biden killed chickens because they had the bird flu. That's not manufactured by the media. That's fact. That's true. It's not manufactured by the media. It says egg production literally drops every winter due to the fact that chickens naturally lay less during the winter. Bro, in the video, they literally say that it was like record low numbers of like chickens or eggs or something. Like record low numbers for egg production. You don't get record numbers generally by things that happen naturally all the time. Generally speaking, and especially if to take into account that the records that were broken here were records that have been held since the last time there was a bird flu. So very clearly, this is caused by the bird flu. This wasn't caused by the media. And I don't think it wasn't even caused by Joe Biden. It was just caused by a combination of the bird flu and how we have to respond to that. So it says here, the BS is happening. The idiot consumers run out and increase demand because they're morons. I keep buying what I need from my neighbor who hasn't raised their prices since their chickens have been laying eggs. Okay. Now, of course, if this is not affecting you, of course, you're more likely to think that it's fake. A 10-pound bag of chicken leg quarters is still less than $1 a pound, you idiots. Well, probably because demand for chicken legs is not as high as demand for eggs. More people buy eggs than chicken legs, I believe. Oh, in the chat, Mr. Pizza says eggs are king food. The guy was 100% a fat Reddit bot saying that comment. Reddit bot behavior. Maybe, but actually, I don't think so. I don't think so, because the person says, I keep buying what I need from my neighbor who hasn't raised her prices even though chickens have been laying eggs. So I think this person lives in a rural area who's like, well, her chickens are fine. What are you talking about? Which is not something a Reddit mod would ever say, right? Which is like, I buy eggs from my neighbor. Reddit moderators don't do that. Mr. P says eggs are expensive here, but I still eat 3 a day every day. Based. Awesome. I'm glad you're doing that, because especially since you are working out, right? Because that's going to help you build muscle. We've got some new